Boom, shakalaka boom. You've tuned in to the free range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. My daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards, coming at you live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios out here on the plush campus, sprawling campus compound of WYAB. 103.9 FM. The big stick about to get a lot bigger. Stay tuned. You think we're everywhere now. You just wait. You just wait. Gonna be calling me Clay 50K. Yeah, that'll make sense later. Anyway, I'm live this morning. Gonna be a big morning. Coming up top of the 8 a.m. hour. We got State Auditor Shad White making a return to the show. He's got a lot to say. Shad's been gone for a couple months. We hadn't had him on in a little bit. He was going to start being a regular guest, but his duty called. You know, Shad is a active member of the National Guard, and we appreciate his service and what he does. And he's got a lot to unload this morning. I hope an hour is enough time. Maybe I can talk him into staying a little overtime, and we can do a little online only. We'll see. We'll see. He's a busy man. Busy man, Shad is. We're going to be talking about people on EBT spending money on junk food, ding dongs, Twinkies, ho-hos, Coke. I don't like it. I don't think they should be doing it. I think they should be on a strict calorie restrictive diet. You should, if you're on EBT, you should also be on keto, as far as Clay Edwards is concerned. Use it as a good opportunity to be forced to learn how to eat healthy. But why is that even an argument? My boy, I love Sean, but Sean's on the other side of this. I'm just like, why is that even an argument? Why are we inevitably, people who end up on EBT they stay on there a long time. They don't typically rebound and become extremely productive high earners. So there's going to be a point in time where we also are having to pay for these people's health care. Why would we co-opt making them obese and diabetic to later have to pay for obesity and diabetic health care? Make it make sense. You can't. It doesn't make sense. Man, I'm looking at myself on this video, and I'm like, man, I haven't been working out, and you can tell. Anyway, hey, man, every now and then you get just the right angle on that bicep. Like, dang, come on in, young son. If I wasn't me, I'd hook up with me. If I wasn't me, of course. Anyway, I'm playing. Y'all laugh. It's supposed to be funny. The Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. I ain't been eating no ding dongs on any level. No ding dongs near me. No ding dongs near me. I ain't putting no ding dongs in my mouth. I don't like them. Anyway, Men's Health, Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. Having a good time this morning. So yesterday, I get a notification on my phone. And it says, 100-pound meth bust in Jackson. 100 pound. I'm like, that's some bold white folks selling 100 pounds of meth in Jackson. That's bold. Well, paint me shocked. They weren't white. Now, if you read all the comments and stuff under the Save Jackson, Clay Edwards social media accounts, you would think that only white folks did that, and that was strictly a Rankin County thing, that black folks don't sell and or distribute or do methamphetamines, which, of course, having spent as long as I did in the nightclub business, I knew that to be a lie. But however, people still like to have plausible deniability, so they do what they love to do, and they stick their heads in the sand and pretend it doesn't happen. Well. 100-pound meth bust yesterday with Pookie and Quita. Let me trying to pull it up online here. Let me just go over to Kingfish's website. WLBT crashes this computer. Kingfish has got it right here. Let me pull it up. Let me share it on the screen here just for those that didn't. I did a breaking news live broadcast yesterday online. I don't do those too often anymore. But when you get a story like this, you got to go live sometimes. And I did yesterday, so y'all go back and watch that video, but we're really going to just repeat it here right now this morning. All right, so we got that pulled up there. Let me see if I can make it a little easier to see. No, that ain't going to work. All right, there we go. So let's scroll down here. 100 pounds of meth seized. And I'm going to tell you what, more so than the 100 pounds of meth, they also got 1,000 fake oxycodone pills that were actually fentanyl pills. You know, one pill can kill, and that ain't just a fancy little saying. My friend Brad Burleson, his brother and sister-in-law both died from getting a bad pain pill that had fentanyl in them that weren't supposed to. And I know people are going to be people out there, well, Clay, they shouldn't have been buying that. Well, true enough. But when you're buying one thing and you think it's something else, and you take it and you die, it ain't exactly like there's a refund counter there. That's murder. If you put fentanyl in a pill, that's attempted murder as far as I'm concerned. And I would have no problem at all if they came down and changed the law today and they said that if you sell a fentanyl pill, that's attempted murder. And if somebody takes that fentanyl pill and dies, that's murder. Because fentanyl kills. Period. I mean, you might as well be putting an arsenic in there or something more deadly. I don't know. Anyway, I want to show y'all Quita and Pookie's picture. There's Quita, whatever her name is. What is it? Her last name's Taylor here. Let's see. Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, with assistance from Capitol Police, made a major drug bust that resulted in the recovery of 100 pounds of methamphetamine and other items in the continued effort to remove dangerous drugs from our streets. During the execution of a search warrant on August 7th, authorities arrested Raquel. As I was saying, Quita's Raquel. How many vials is that? 1, 2, 3 vials. 3 vials. Raquel Taylor for aggravated trafficking. After, it's 3 vials, but it's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 letters, 3 of them are vials. We'll just go ahead and call this 4 vial behavior. Raquel Taylor for aggravated trafficking after finding her in possession of 100 pounds of meth. Guys, I'm going to tell you what, as a guy that used to dabble a little bit in methamphetamines back in my nightclub and days, nothing I'm proud of, but it ain't nothing I hide from either, because I feel like if I tell you all the truth, you'll respect me a little bit more than if somebody unearths something they find out about me and they try to sprinkle a little salt on me. If I tell you that I used to have a problem and I tell you that I'm speaking from a place of experience, I feel like y'all respect that more. And you obviously don't respect that I did drugs. We can agree that that's a horrible thing to do, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But I did, and I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot of what not to do in life. I learned a lot about the people you don't want to hang out with and the situations you don't want to find yourself in. But I did learn a lot about myself after I didn't sleep for about 7 or 8 days in a row. I learned that I like to sleep. Anyhow, continuing on. They found over 100 pounds of meth at a home in South Crown Point Drive in Jackson. That is in the nice part of Jackson. That's over there in Northeast Jackson. And you can go to Zillow and pull up the address. And the house is really nice. We took a tour of it on my live feed yesterday. We're not going to do it this morning. It'll crash the computer. But let's see here. The house over on Crown Point on August 12th. Officials also arrested Tyrone Samuel. Somebody call Tyrone Samuel on charges of aggravated trafficking and conspiracy. Samuel is currently out on bond in Madison County. It doesn't say for what. Authorities recovered approximately 100 pounds of methamphetamine, 2 pounds of marijuana. Got to calm your nerves a little bit when you get that high. 1,000 doses of M30 counterfeit oxycodone pills containing fentanyl, and a Draco 7.62 rifle. a stolen Ford Bronco out of Kentucky, and a GMC Yukon, and a partridge in a pear tree. It says, Sean Tyndall says, this is great work done by our law enforcement officers by taking 100 pounds of meth and other drugs off the streets. Sean is the commissioner of the Department of Public Safety. Every ounce or pound removed is a step toward a safer community and a clear message to criminals that illegal drugs have no place in Mississippi. This remains an open investigation. More arrests are anticipated. Hopefully they're going to be doing some snitching. Now, our FAFO champ here, Tyrone Biggums, this ain't his first brush with the law. Tyrone killed a man at the infamous Chevron gas station right there on Ridgewood back in 2021 and was arrested for murder. However, because we almost got us a 2-for-1, but Tyrone was a better shot. The guy he killed actually shot at him first, according to the security cams, and he FAFO'd a little harder, and Tyrone was able to get off of it. But what I was really surprised at was Tyrone wasn't already a felon, and they weren't able to, at least at minimum, get him with felon in possession of a firearm, but he will now be a felon moving forward. So we'll see if they get him again. If he gets out of this and they get him and he'll be a felon, and, it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. But, back to the methamphetamine and black people. So I'm continuously told that that's a white people drug, and all these white meth zombies roaming around Jackson. If they would just go back to Rankin County, Jackson could be saved. Well, if y'all been listening to this show long enough, you know my stance on this. I keep telling the good black folks of Jackson, if y'all's drug dealers would quit selling the good meth, we would have a lot easier time keeping our meth heads in Rankin County. But y'all over here selling the good meth, 100 pounds of it. See, then we don't run all the meth dealers out of Rankin County just like we have the homeless folks. We just send them all to Jackson. Jackson's got the infrastructure for this. We don't have the infrastructure for it in Rankin County. We ain't built for this. We just pick up the drug dealers and the homeless people and bring them over here. I mean, y'all love this crap. Democrat death culture. For the culture. Hashtag. I mean, y'all love this. I mean, y'all write songs about it. Your entire culture is about drug dealing, killing, littering, hoes. Can I say that on the radio? Talking about garden utensils here. Gardening hose. I mean, this is y'all's thing. Don't get mad. I mean, we're just supplying the customers. A steady stream of Rankin County white trash coming over here, supporting a independently owned business, independently owned street pharmacist. I mean, I support independent pharmacies. Is this the same thing? He's an independent pharmacist. I'm just supporting a good black-owned business. Oh, it make me laugh sometimes. I'm just taking what y'all tell me, flipping it, spinning it, and giving it back to you. Clay, you don't know what he had been through. I don't care. I know he's about to go through. He's a big old boy, though. He might be the one rolling up behind somebody that drops the soap. It looks like he ain't no stranger to Pound Town. I'm assuming anybody that had kids in the car changed the channel after the Ding Dong reference. Let's take a break. When we come back, I hit multi-vowel name jackpot yesterday. A Jackson future rocket scientist, engineer, and possibly even an astronaut got arrested for murder. And we hit the holy grail of multi-vowel names with his arrest. Y'all aren't going to believe this. I want to give it away right now, but I'm not. You're going to have to stay tuned. Did we get an A-E-I-O-U in alphabetical order with this kid's name? Yes, we did. And I'm going to tell you about it when we come back. Don't go nowhere. This is the Clay Edwards Show. Coming up, hour 2, Shad White, state auditor, talking about EBTs, junk food, and more. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB. We are streaming worldwide at Save JXN on Facebook, X, and YouTube. We're also streaming in stunning HD on Rumble at Clay Edwards Show. We have now got to where we are getting as many viewers on Rumble as we are on YouTube. That is wild to me. Granted, it's just a few hundred, but I mean, still pretty cool, if you ask me, for a show that's on at 7 in the morning while people are getting ready. Hey, just a reminder. So what I've been doing, I started it last week, then the holiday weekend kind of messed it up a little bit. And that show we did about trans terrorists last week that I couldn't stream live. But what we're doing is I love to take the product to the people. I love to make it as easily digestible as possible for you guys. So at 7 o'clock every night, the show is re-uploaded to Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble with all the commercials cut out of it. Now, not the live reads. Look, I mean, we either got to do one or two things. We got to leave the live reads in, or I got to start charging $10 a month for an online subscription and putting the show behind a paywall. But there's got to, it can't be one of the. It can't be both. We can't do away with both. So we leave the live reads in, and the show remains free. But we can't cut the commercial. We can't cut the commercials out and the live reads. But anyway, so subscribe to whatever platform that you digest the show on the best. And there it is. It's just like what we do with the podcast. We just cut the commercials out, upload it. But if you like the video aspect of it, and so many people are using YouTube and whatnot and other platforms as their podcast, like we call video streams podcasts now. Which they're not. They're live. They're streams. They're video. A podcast is an audio only thing, but now they're audio with video, and we call it a podcast. But that's the world we live in. I won't be left behind. So just throwing that out there for everybody. So 7 o'clock, I schedule it. It posts. Set it. Forget it. And yesterday's show got posted last night. They got another 700-800 views on Facebook alone. I'll take that. Ain't the thousands and thousands, but I came from the nightclub business. You tell me 700 people are coming through my doors, I'm like, hell yeah. That's a sold out night for the most part. And we can always find room for more. We ain't turning nobody away. But I never scoff at 700 people. Now I get videos that do 1 million views and stuff. And that's awesome. Don't get me wrong. But I'm never so jaded that I look at 600 or 700 and get down on that. Like that's a nice baseline for people to listen to this whacked out morning show that we do here. Real quick, Lakeland Glass and Tint. They've been here since day one. Check them out for all your home, car, and business window tinting needs. They got a new location for you right there in downtown Brandon, block from my crib, right on the corner of 80 and 471, right there, kind of across from the pins and all that stuff. They're doing windshields and window tint there. They're also doing windshield repair. So if you got a crack in your windshield, swing by, no appointment needed, as long as it's not going to be raining that day. Let them knock it out for you. I think it's like $50 a crack, something like that. So can't beat it. Check them out. Home, car, and business window tinting, automotive glass repair and replacement, vehicle wraps, and ceramic coating and high-end details. And there's no telling what else all they got going on over there. But turn your vehicle into a rolling billboard today, or just change the color of it to one of them fancy matte colors that everybody likes so much. That's LakelandGlassandTint.com for a free quote today. All right. So there was a murder arrest from over the weekend, one of the deadliest Labor Day weekends on record in Jackson, as first reported by the Clay Edwards Show. And the name of the murder suspect, and I love doing this because there's going to be a whole demographic of people out there that get so mad at me that they're going to be defending the murderer by the time I get done here. And I love it. I love getting these people worked into such a pretzel that they defend the murderer to spite me. His name is Camarion. And I was doing my live stream yesterday, and I've got to where I like to count how many vowels these future astronauts, rocket scientists, and engineers have in their names. Because I don't know what, who, or why, but the more vowels they have in their names, the more prone I am to believing that they're guilty as charged, no court, no trial needed, lock them up, throw away the key, save everybody the headache and hassle. 4 or more, they did it. 5 or more, they're serial killers and they need to be treated like Jeffrey Dahmer. Camarion not only had 5 vowels, A, E, I, O, U were in order. Now, there was letters in between them, but either way, they were in order in the name. Man, I literally felt like I hit the Powerball yesterday when I was doing my live stream, and I figured that out. So I'm drinking my coffee this morning. So please, single moms of Jackson, please keep naming your kids dumbass names with a bunch of vowels so I can make fun of it here on the radio when they kill people or do otherwise idiotic things. F around, find out championship winners. This ain't a race thing either, by no means. It just is what it is. Stupid. Where do y'all come up with these names at? I mean, do y'all just, what I vision, tell me if I'm wrong, what I vision is, it sounds like the volume's a little high. What I vision is a fishbowl. And you know how when you work somewhere and they'll do like a raffle or something and you go by and they say, draw a letter out of the bowl. Like kind of like playing bingo or something. I don't know. Anyway, Scrabble. It's kind of like Scrabble. Here we go. This is going to be a Clay's version of Scrabble. You take a bunch of letters, like 10 of every letter. You throw them in a fishbowl. And you got to pull out, we'll say, 10 letters. And you got to figure out a way to make a name out of those 10 letters. And that's how I vision some of these names that y'all are naming your kids nowadays in urban Democrat cities. Because these aren't like authentic, names or anything like that. These aren't names from the motherland. These are just crap y'all are making up. Camarion, Dijonay. What is that? Is that authentic Jackson? Authentic Chicago? I mean, you're making stuff up. White people, you ain't free of this either. Michaela, Braxton, spelling everything that's supposed to be EY with an EIGH or IEGH or whatever at the end. Millennial white moms, y'all guilty of this too. You don't get a free pass here. Michaela. I saw a hilarious meme the other day. I've shared it before. Y'all know I have a thing for hairdressers because they're usually really hot because they take care of themselves. Like to me, there's nothing hotter than a 40-year-old woman that takes care of herself. Like I'm not into young girls. I like grown women that take care of themselves because like hairdressers are standing in front of a mirror all day. Yeah, Chris says Aiden. What did Chris say? Aiden, Braden, Jaden. And look, y'all just as guilty. So y'all don't be laughing at me talking about these black names with all these vowels. Because y'all are just as guilty about this nonsense. But there's a meme out there. But I love hairdressers. And not because I love talking about what they do for a living. They're usually just hot. Because they're standing in front of a mirror all day, messing with themselves. Like, well, what else can I do to be pretty? Is it Botox? Is it makeup? Is it my hair? Is it this? Is it that? They're usually in shape, because they're staring in a mirror all day. And it's kind of a pissing match between the other girls at the salons. I've dated 5 or 6 hairdressers over the years. And it never ends well, but it doesn't mean they're any less hot. All right, yeah, so here's the meme. I'm going to post this on my Facebook as soon as we go to the next break. It says, and it's got all these white girls lined up with the knee-high brown cowboy boots and blue jeans or blue jean skirts, and it just looks like vision fall white girls in Mississippi, like on a bachelorette party. And it said, proud mommies of Aiden, Braden, Caden, Jackson, Braxton, Taylor, Michaela, Paxton, and Tractor. They all got X's in their names or YNs and a bunch of A's. White girls love to find a way to put an A in a kid's name. When did an A become such a popular letter? Clay. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, don't forget we got top at 8 o'clock hour, Shad White, state auditor, Mississippi. We're going to talk about po folks on EBT and should they be buying junk food or not? Should we be co-oping unhealthy food on EBT? And I, of course, 100% do not think we should. Frankly, I think they should have to all shop at locally owned farmers markets or grocery stores. They should, if you're on EBT and Mississippi's paying for it, I don't even think you should be able to shop at Walmart or Kroger's. Walmarts or Kroger's. You should have to shop at a locally owned place. And frankly, I think you should have to shop at a farmer's market. Direct farm to table, as far as I'm concerned. Start learning how to eat healthy. Start learning how to cook. You shouldn't be able to go to the grocery store and buy anything from the deli already cooked on EBT. No, sir. And I know they changed that up a few years ago. Some grocery stores figured out a way to hustle it, where they're selling pre-cooked food as deli items or whatever, where you can use your EBT to buy a plate lunch. I don't like that at all. No, you on EBT, you need to be cooking. You got time. You ain't working. Take your butt back to the house, pull out the pots and pans, and start cooking. Anyway, also, we're going to talk about Pearl. I ain't come down Pearl's road in a long time. I got a good relationship with the city of Pearl, but the Board of Aldermen just voted against the will of the people and voted against liquor stores in Pearl. And look, I mean, this is just me talking, not 042 Wine or Spirits or anybody, but the liquor stores over in Brandon got to be jumping up doing the Toyota heel kick, the ankle tap, Toyota. Because, I mean, all the folks from Brandon are Stanley's Wine and Liquor. Man, nobody's more vested in Pearl not allowing liquor stores than Stanley's. Because if Pearl ever gets it, man, I think, Stanley's, I love those folks, man. They're old family friends and stuff. But, I mean, that might be the end of Stanley's as far as like non-Jacksonian customers. If they ever get liquor stores in Pearl, but I mean, Pearl refusing to let liquor stores in is helping the local economy in the other areas. But I guess it's kind of a trade-off with Brandon, because we bring all those concerts to town and pack out Pearl's hotels because we don't have any. And all the Pearl residents that drink liquor come to Brandon to buy it because they don't have any. So I guess it's a give and a take relationship there. We'll be right back to discuss further. We're going to talk about the aldermen who did and didn't vote in favor of liquor stores, who voted against the will of the people based on some polling. We'll be right back. This is the Clay Edwards Show on WYAB. Hit that share button if you're watching online. We're causing a ruckus this morning. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show. If you're watching online, you see my FAFO hat and my military green FAFO shirt with that full color American flag there on the right sleeve. It is available in stock, ready to ship today. Got it in black and this military green. I've also got a couple in red and pink left. And when those are gone for good. For now, anyway. Hats are still available. Buyfafo.com. Buyfafo.com. And I will be set up live in living color at the 3rd annual Mississippi Kings and Queens of Tattoo and it's called the 3rd annual Kings and Queens of Ink Tattoo and Art Festival at the Coliseum and Trademark Center next weekend, the 12th through 14th. Come by, visit my booth, hang out with us, take some pictures. Maybe we'll even do a live podcast. Who knows? We'll be there all weekend. Gonna be a good time. Really excited about it. Really, really excited. They gave me a big booth right at the entrance. So I'll be one of the first people you see when you walk in. Haters, y'all come too. Come meet me. If you still don't like me when you're done, well, screw you. Buy a shirt and a hat while you're there. But anyway, with that said, I'm gonna be talking. Anybody that's interested in find out anything about testosterone or any of that stuff, I'll be there. Talk to me about it, man. I'll have the QR code set up. You can scan it right there, get an appointment. Maybe I can hustle somebody from Men's Health to come hang out with me and talk about all the things they do as well. But that's next weekend, September 12th through 14th. Is at the Trademark Center right on the fairgrounds. You know it's going to be safe down there. Capitol Police, all that stuff down there working. It's the third annual Kings and Queens of Ink Tattoo Festival. Gonna be a good time. We'll be telling you more about it as we get closer. All right, Pearl, Pearl, man. I know they're disappointed over there. I talked to some folks last night who are just boondoggled at the fact that the Board of Aldermen voted down an ordinance allowing liquor stores. We're going to read the article. Well, it looks like this ain't an article, it's a video. I really didn't want to play any video. We seem to have nothing but trouble with that. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. I did post that meme, by the way. It's on my Facebook and Instagram at SaveJXN of all the white girls. I say they're all hairdressers, or at least, yeah, we'll just say hairdressers. I can never pronounce that other word. Estheticians. Definitely puts off a hairdresser and esthetician vibes because they're all hot, all of them. I ain't never met an unattractive esthetician or hairdresser. I've had some chubby ones, but they were still cute. Let's see here. Let me pull this up real quick. Where'd it go? Man, I get a lot of books. Well, we'll just say this. I'll read in a second. Here, the people who voted for it: Dwight Knight and Casey Foy, the aldermen who voted against it. And if these are your aldermen and you live in Pearl, I'd have a conversation with them. But hey, man, why did you vote against the will of the people? Sammy Williams, Keith Dennis, Gary Broadwater, Kyle Foster, and David Stovall voted against it. Man, I mean, look, Pearl does a good job, but 60% of Pearl voters were for it, 40% were against it, and it loses 5-2. Well, where does that make sense? I'm having a hard time understanding that. I know they got a pastor on the TV right now, Ron Harrison, pastor of Eastside Church in Pearl. I'm gonna guess that he's against it. We might as well just play the dang thing here on the video screen real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. I hope this works, man. The last couple times we've tried to do video, the audio didn't push through to the stream. But again, this is a radio show first and foremost, so I can't.
Pearl voting down an ordinance allowing liquor stores in the city despite support from residents during the general election in June. At a meeting tonight, the Board of Aldermen voted 5-2, rejecting that ordinance, which would have allowed package stores to open in the city. It comes after the general election saw 60% of voters in support of the ordinance. Mayor Jake Lynn recommended approving the ordinance based on that vote, saying he is supposed to represent the people. Now, one resident says he's happy with the board's vote. He knows it was not an easy decision.
We can't ever forget our people's voice within our cities. Those are the most important things. They're the taxpayer. They're the CEOs of the city.
People are proponents of it and people are opponents of it. Personally, I don't drink, and I'd rather not see it in the city.
Pearl is a resort area, meaning restaurants can sell wine and liquor by the glass. The city also sells beer 7 days a week.
So here's my problem with it: is it makes you look like a bunch of hypocrites for what they've just said right there. Yeah, I can go to Pearl and buy beer 7 days a week, including Sunday, including election day. I can go sit down at any restaurant in Pearl and get a mixed drink 7 days a week, which I could argue that if you're going to pick your poison from a safety perspective, that is much, much higher risk for DUIs and stuff of that nature. And the things that come with DUIs, wrecks, death, all that stuff. I've never understood this myth, and Rankin County was the worst about it. This myth that if you allowed liquor stores in Rankin County, that it was going to have all these drunkards out front drinking. Like, I know a lot of drunks, and I don't know a single drunk that goes in the liquor store, buys it, and then sits out front and sips it out of a brown bag. My dad owned a liquor store in Jackson on Lynch Street for 20 years. And I was down there every day after school. I've seen people killed, all kind of stuff. But you know what I hadn't seen? Not even on Lynch Street did we have drunkards hanging out, sipping liquor in front of the liquor store out of a brown bag. I mean, first off, Pearl Police ain't going to be allowing that. I would love to see the first drunkard try that nonsense. I mean, just pick them up, take them to Jackson. Drop them off there if it's a problem. It don't make sense to me. Why do liquor stores are really nice nowadays? Have you ever been in one lately? They're like 042. I just like going in there and just like looking around. I'm like a kid in a candy store, even if I'm not buying anything. Like we are living in the golden age of labels. Like these wine bottles, these liquor bottles, man, they look cool. And we know the Baptist. I'm one of them. We know y'all got a bunch of bourbon at the house anyway. You just scared somebody might see you at the liquor store? If it's going to be just a little too convenient for you, scared they might bump into you at the liquor store, the congregation might see you. I'm just asking. I don't frown upon drinking. One thing, we promote responsible alcohol consumption on this show. We support responsible medical marijuana consumption on this show. I mean, this is not the Bible thumping, do as I say, not as I do show. Not at all. I believe in adults making adult responsible decisions. Just like my beliefs on kratom and everything else. If an adult wants to take something, an adult should be allowed to take something as long as it's within reason legal. I'm not one of these legalize everything people. Don't legalize meth. Don't legalize cocaine. You know, I wouldn't have a problem if medical marijuana became recreational or adult use. Personally, what I would like to see restrictions if that happened is the public consumption side of it, because I don't want to smell marijuana walking down the streets any more than I have to. This new stuff is strong. But anyway, Pearl Board of Aldermen, voted against what the people said they wanted. But it's okay to go in and sit down and get a mixed drink at any restaurant in town. That just don't make sense. But hey, look, I'm sure the liquor stores over in Brandon will be sending them all Christmas cards. Stanley's over in Jackson, sending them a Christmas card. The liquor store right there on Lakeland Drive in the quarter, going to be sending them a Christmas card. The one right beside it that's been there forever in that old gas station or whatever, right beside the quarter. It's a cool liquor store, by the way. Older. It's got the patio, like the covered patio you come at too. Anyway, we got to take a break. Boom, shakalaka boom. It's hour 2 of the most incendiary show on the RADIO. Your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I am Clay Edwards, coming at you live here in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi studios. I can't, it was like a tradition now, right? I have to make if you don't take testosterone, if you have low T, you probably vote Democrat joke with Shad White here in the studio. Oh, you got to try to make Shad laugh about that one. The streak continues. But all joking aside, guys, text Clay to 601-800-5130. 601-800-5130. Just text my name, Clay. and get you scheduled up for a free testosterone screening. But hey, man, they're offering so much more than just testosterone now. You got the compounded semaglutide for weight loss. You've got some peptides that help with your human growth hormone, get your body making the HGH naturally again. It's called Somorlin. I've been on it for about a week and a half. I'll tell you more about it as I learn more about it. But so far, so good. But look, they got a bunch of different things they can do for you. They can be your general physician and more for a low monthly membership fee. Save yourself a lot of money if you go to the doctors regularly. Even if you don't, go take advantage of that testosterone. Again, 601-800-5130. Text that number, text Clay, and they'll get back in touch with you. Get you scheduled up today. All right, man. Here in the studio, State Auditor Shad White, been gone all summer. We got him back. Shad, what's been going on, brother?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm
Going
good.
on military duty for a big chunk of the summer, but good to be back here. Feels like I didn't miss anything. Everyone was like, it was quiet. And I was like, that's because I wasn't here. That's the whole problem.
It really was. And you were quite on social too.
Yeah.
While you were gone. So
yeah.
I was trying about the last week or so.
Yeah. I was trying to focus on that. And the office still continued to crank out good work. I would be in trainings or working out through the middle of the day and, do emails, phone calls, all that kind of stuff, and work pretty hard on the weekends to try to stay on top of auditor stuff. And as you probably saw, we continued to produce reports and our investigations continue to go forward. We had several arrests and plea deals and all that kind of stuff happening over the summer. So the men and women of the auditor's office are doing a great job. There's about 130 of them, and they're killing it every single day. So I'm super grateful to be able to work with them. But it's good to be back here in person physically. And hat tip to all the National Guardsmen out there who have to do this every single day. When I leave, folks are going to notice a little bit, but you have cops, you have teachers, you have doctors, you got nurses, you got all kinds of folks who have normal jobs, but they get called up every single day and they do their National Guard duty, or they go do a training, or they go to DC or whatever it may be. And those folks and their families sacrifice. So hat tip to them for being willing to serve.
Well, hat tip to you, my friend, for serving. We got a text in from James on the Guns and Gear text line. I said, I did not know that Shad was a member of the Guard. And
yeah,
Shad is a member of the Guard, and we appreciate your service.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And you were telling me on the way back in is right about the time that Tate sent a couple hundred guys to DC, and you thought you might have to turn around. I'm like, well, I don't know. That would be kind of fun to get to go up there and do a little bit of a.
I would have been fine with it. Yeah, I would have been fine with it. I was in Virginia and coming back, and a buddy of mine who was with me at the training in Virginia, but was about to get on a plane to go to Germany for his duty. He texted me. He was like, "Hey, Governor Reeves he just signed on to send National Guard troops to DC. You think you're gonna have to turn around?" And I legitimately was scrolling through my phone at a gas station, and a bunch of us are on an email. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to turn around. But thank goodness was able to come home, and that made my wife happy. At least she was holding down the fort with 3 kids, ages 6, 4, and 2 the entire time. So she was ready for me to be back.
Well, that's the first thing I was thinking. I was like, I bet the wife is like, come on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, don't go to DC. Come on back home. And my kids were super excited to see me. My son, who's 2, has been following me around like a little duck in the house for the last 2 weeks. Just everywhere I go, he wants to be. So it's fun to come back and see them after being gone for a little bit.
How long were you gone?
3 months.
3 months.
June, July, and August. Yeah,
that is rough, man.
Yeah. No, it was fine. I will say this.
Well, rough from being away from the family.
Yeah, that's right. And also, I was like, maybe it'll be cooler where I'm going as compared to Mississippi in the summer. And it was not. We were sweating it out. Like every morning I was just like head to toe covered in sweat in Virginia.
But you learn why we kind of do still consider Virginia the South.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you share humid summers with us, you're like our Southern brethren.
That's right. I saw more nose rings up there than I had back here, but that's a different story. Like that for the weather
up there.
That's right. For the weather, it was pretty similar to Mississippi.
There's nothing tells me you're a white liberal like a nose ring or riding in the car by yourself with a face mask on.
That's right.
It's like
who are you hiding from? Come on, at this point.
It's like a hello, my name is tag.
That's right.
Name tag.
I voted for Kamala.
So let you know that I'm one of you. I'm one of you.
That's right.
So look, man, something that I've been seeing that's been bubbling up under the surface here for a little bit, and it's something I've been harping on for a while now. And I saw that you jumped on this, and it's with the folks on EBT, maybe having some constraint on what maybe some limitation, maybe it's a better way to put it, on what they can and can't buy as far as junk food and stuff of that nature.
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
Yeah. So we did a report few days ago, actually, that just talked about this movement that's happening around the country. A bunch of red state governors have requested permission from President Trump to ban the use of food stamps on certain kinds of junk food. So what we did is we looked at how much in food stamps are being spent on things like candy and sugary drinks. It's about 11% of all the food stamp dollars in Mississippi are spent on.
That feels like a lot.
It feels like a lot. It's more than the general population on
Oh,
candy.
really?
Yep. Yep. So we could compare it to the general population too. It's more than the general population. 11% spent in Mississippi on just sugary drinks and candy. We're not including other kinds of junk food like desserts or chips or things like that. And so we said, all right, well, we know that sugary drinks and candy, whether you like it or not, are contributors to chronic diseases like obesity and diabetes. So one, if Mississippi did the same thing some of these other red states are doing and asked for permission to ban the use of food stamps on sugary drinks and candy, how much money is that going to be? And then two, if we could, over the long run, reduce these chronic diseases among food stamp folks by just 1%, how much money does that save in Medicaid? So most folks who are on food stamps are also on Medicaid, which is the healthcare program for the poor, paid for by us, the taxpayers. So we're financing bad nutritional habits on one end, and then we're paying for the healthcare consequences as taxpayers on the other end.
Man, it's the same thing I was ranting about in the first hour. It's like
Yep.
we're co-opting obesity and diabetes.
That's right.
And then we're having to pay for the medicine
Yep.
to offset what we co-opt.
Yep. And they're super expensive diseases to treat. I mean, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, these are very, very expensive diseases and healthcare problems that we got to treat.
Ozempic is one of the medicines for
100%.
obesity and diabetes. And I believe without insurance, it's around $1,300 a month.
Jeez.
And that's just to do one dose a week.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the dosage is with diabetes and whatnot, but just for weight loss,
Yeah.
it's one dose a week. And it's so 4 doses are $1,300.
Yeah.
Ish.
And, you know, when we pushed this report out, our analysts looked at the research around the cost of these chronic diseases. They looked at how many people who are on food stamps are also on Medicaid, how many of those folks are obese, how many of those folks have diabetes or chronic heart disease. And so we come up with this number. We say if we reduce those chronic diseases by just 1%, it would save the state about $22 million per year. And
Man,
of course,
what could we do with that money? Sorry to cut you off, but just think about what you could do with that as far as education and, well, I'm just thinking teachers, police, stuff of that nature.
absolutely. Yeah. It would be, you remember a couple of years ago, there was $25 million annually dedicated to teacher pay raises. And folks said that's one of the biggest teacher pay raises ever. So again, this is just a sort of common sense decision that could yield big returns for taxpayers in the long run. Unfortunately, the reason I think that this doesn't get talked about a lot is as soon as you say the words out loud, somebody's going to say to you, and they have said to me, well, that's super unfair, super racist, super mean. You want to tell people they can't buy candy or Cokes just because you don't want them to. And the truth is that nobody is banning a person from going out and buying a Coca-Cola or banning a person from buying a Snickers bar. You can do just like we do, which is use your own money to go out and buy the Snickers bar, go out and buy the Coca-Cola. You just can't use my money to go do it because I don't want to pay for it. And then I certainly don't want to pay for the obesity on the back end or the heart disease on the back end. So, regardless of the names that people are going to call you, we need to be willing to step up and talk about some of these common sense things. And other governors are seeing it out there right now. I think Governor Reeves is also open to it. He's expressed that as well. We just wanted to put some data on this and show people, hey, yeah, this is a real problem in Mississippi specifically, spending food stamp money on this kind of stuff. And also it can generate some savings in the long run if we're smart about this.
Well, when somebody tells me it's racist, to me, I feel like that's them being racist, automatically assuming that it's majority Black people on EBT.
Absolutely.
When the numbers don't bear that out.
Absolutely.
Nationally, I'm not sure about Mississippi, but nationally, way more white people are on federal assistance welfare than Black people. So this is not a black-white issue,
That's
in my
right.
opinion. This is, I don't care who you are, what color you are, what religion, any of that. I don't want to pay for your yo-yos and Ding Dongs and
Yep.
Coca-Cola.
Yep, that's right.
Period. I want,
That's right.
go, I think, and I mean, I could even be a little more extreme on this and say you should have to shop at a farmer's market.
Yeah.
With this stuff, or locally owned grocery stores. You shouldn't even be able to go shop at a Walmart or a Kroger or any of these national places. But I mean, they pay taxes too. It is what it is. I know that's just me
Sure.
wishing, because I'm
Sure.
just a diehard, die-in-the-wool supporter of small business.
Yep.
But with that said, I don't want to pay for this crap.
Yeah.
And that Oliver Anthony song comes to mind constantly
100%.
about, you know,
That's exactly what I thought of when we first released this report was the ding dong line or the ho ho line or whatever it is from the song. Here's the other thing too. You talk about making smarter decisions with just how food stamps can be spent. The system as a whole really does not make a ton of sense. So for example, if you're on food stamps and you walk into a Walmart today and you put in your grocery cart a whole bunch of Coca-Cola, and then you, on your way out, you know, they have that little kiosk right there with hot rotisserie chicken. You're like, all right, I'm going to buy hot rotisserie chicken as well. And you pick that up and you put it in your grocery cart. Obviously, of those two things, the hot rotisserie chicken is a much healthier choice. It's a healthier source of protein. Coca-Cola is not. You go to check out, your food stamps can be used to purchase the Coca-Cola. It cannot be used to purchase the hot rotisserie chicken.
Correct.
That makes no sense at all. Absolutely no sense. So we at least need to be talking about this stuff and talking about how we can be smarter about how we spend taxpayer dollars, how we allow folks to spend taxpayer dollars. And that's when you get better government in the long run, is you get more efficiency, you get people making better decisions, and you get taxpayers more comfortable with these programs because they say, well, at least the programs are starting to make sense. At least we're banning the use of candy on food stamps or with food stamps.
Yeah, I've seen some people say, well, it's disproportionately unfair to people who are, you know, poor people, this, that, and the other, to already put these other restrictions on them. Like, well, clearly I hate to be the bad guy, but actually I don't. They obviously need some restrictions on them. You need to start learning some budgeting. You need to start learning what's good for you, what's not good for you. Because if you think that it's okay to go get government money and go buy junk food with it, your whole basis of financial budgeting and good health decisions is out of whack to begin with.
Yep.
The food pyramid stuff that we're teaching people in school is out of whack.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that we even serve Cokes in school is a bad decision, in my opinion.
Yep.
We shouldn't have any soft drinks in the schools.
Yep.
Shouldn't have them in hospitals. Shouldn't have them in any of these places.
Yep.
But whatever, it's capitalism. But I don't have to necessarily like every aspect of it.
Yeah, and you know, folks are free to make the choice that they want to make with their own money. I think that's the big thing to point out, is that nobody is restricting your ability to go buy a Coke. I'm just saying I'm not going to pay for it.
Right.
That's the big difference.
Well, you know, you brought up the point about like the deli food, the pre-cooked chicken.
Yep.
Now, I've always been on the other side of that, where I don't think they should be allowed to buy anything pre-cooked, because if you're on some type of government assistance, EBT in particular, I just always go to the fact somebody not having a job. And I know some people do work and are on assistance,
Sure.
But for the people who aren't, I don't think we should be buying any pre-cooked deli food for them at all. You got time to cook, go home and cook.
Yeah.
But it is a good point about the rotisserie chicken. I didn't think about that. If I got to pick my poison, I'd rather not pick your poison.
That's right.
Yeah, I'd rather you get the rotisserie chicken, get that protein versus that box of chocolate or that Coca-Cola or whatever. And like, you know, I don't know. I know some grocery stores kind of tweaked the way they scan their QRs and they load things into their system, because that's how all this is done. It's through QRs, right? Yep. That's why it's going to be. Sean was against. He said, "Well, how the grocery store is going to know?" Well, it's all through their QR system.
Yeah, they already know.
Yeah, they already know. You scan it, and it's either qualifies or it doesn't.
That's right.
That's how you know it doesn't qualify. But I know some places they went through and they redid their deli, where they could sell deli or plate lunches, and it be able to work through EBT, because they would just register it as like maybe sliced deli meat instead of. Yeah. And maybe I guess I better not say who does that, because I don't want to get anybody in trouble if they're breaking the law. But I think they figured a workaround so they could do their blue plates on EBT. But I got a problem with that. Like, I don't think you should. But if I got to pick, I'd rather you go get a good healthy lunch than a box of Ding Dongs.
Yep.
I don't know why we picked Ding Dongs to be the chocolate that we make
poor
fun
Ding
of.
Dong company out there. There's a lot of bad food out there. Don't use your food stamps.
I mean, look, I'm guilty as anybody on eating that unhealthy crap. If I walk into a gas station, I can't help myself. Where are the Oreo cakesters at? I mean, I pay at the pump now just to avoid going in the gas station and get cakesters.
Somebody asked me, you know, if I eat fast food. And I said, well, before I was in politics, if you'd asked me that, I would have said, I never eat fast food, like 0 times a week or month. And now in politics, you know, I have to be out on the road a decent amount. Like, I go out and speak and tell people what the auditor's office is doing. We get a ton of tips, whistleblower tips in by me going out and doing a rotary speech and then folks pulling me aside afterwards. So I'm on the road a lot. And that means you end up, unfortunately, in a lot of places with McDonald's as your option. So like when McDonald's announced their new sauces last year, that was the best day of my year. I was like, oh yeah, new sauces. Let's do this thing.
I love it. All right, look, guys, I see y'all calling, man. We're not going to take any calls today. If you would like to, if you got any questions for the auditor, text me on the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944, 769-241-1944. This interview is brought to you by Mazda of Jackson. Check them out online today at mazdaofjackson.com. Don't forget, every new Mazda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty and a year of basic maintenance covered free of charge at Mazda of Jackson. Go see them in person right there at Briarwood Drive on 55, or again, shop them online 24/7, 365, mazdaofjackson.com. We'll be right back with Shad White here in the studio. Back into the Clay Edwards Show here live in the Men's Health and Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. This segment brought to you by Ellis Autoplex. Check them out today, ellisautoplex.com. Located there on Highway 471 in Flowood. They call it Little Truck City. They're going to be your home for quality, pre-owned, higher mileage, and some lower mileage, but they specialize in higher mileage, four-door, four-wheel drive, late model pickups, F-150s in particular. But they got cars, SUVs, and other brands such as Chevy and Ram as well, Toyota. I probably got a Tacoma and a 4Runner on the website right now. Broncos, all that good stuff. Check them out, ellisautoplex.com. And don't forget, they buy vehicles and they pay top dollar for them, fair market value. Let them swing by, put a number on it for you, or you swing by, let them put a number on it for you. And I see Casey and the team. Tell them Clay sent you. Ellis Autoplex. Again, ellisautoplex.com. Check out their selection today. Follow them on Facebook, man. They do such a great job posting all their upcoming inventory stuff they just got that's on the way to the dealership, or stuff that's at the dealership that hasn't gone through recon yet. You can buy it before it's ready to sell. If it's something you want, swing by, plant your flag on it. All right. We got Shad White, State Auditor, here in the studio. Shad, we got a couple comments on the Guns and Gear text line. And I love hearing from the people.
Yeah, come on.
So are you ready to announce that you're running for governor yet? You ready to throw your hat in the ring?
Thanks for the question. No, I think that I've made no secret that I'm seriously thinking about running for governor, because I see so many people in our political establishment who are afraid to start hard conversations, make tough decisions, do the tough thing. This food stamp thing that we're talking about is an obvious example. So I'm troubled by that, and I think that folks are ready for somebody who understands how taxpayer money gets spent, knows that a lot of our politicians are wasting that money, and they want us to do better. And so I'm very encouraged by all those folks as they speak to me as I travel around the state. I think it's too early. I mean, we're 2 years out. And so I think that I'm going to continue to focus on doing my job, trying to do it well, and telling people, the common sense ideas that I have to make Mississippi better. I think Mississippi has a ton of momentum. I think we've got more potential than any other state in the entire country. I love living here. I love raising my family and my 3 kids here. I think we can continue to do better. But for right now, I've got to focus on doing my job. And once we're much closer to time, then I'll come on the Clay Edwards Show, and then we'll make some announcements.
I like it. And I think you do run the risk of candidate burnout.
Yeah.
When you announce too early, and that's not a shot at anybody or anything, but I think you do run the potential of a little campaign burnout, because there is this sense of you're selling yourself to people. And if I feel like you're always trying to sell me something, do I lose your message? Does your message get diluted a little bit versus, what's you're doing your current job versus what's selling me on this next job?
Yeah.
And when you blur those lines a little bit, it can be a little nauseating, a little fatigue-ish.
Yeah. And look, I think you said it the right way. That's not a knock on anybody. Andy has obviously already announced. It's not a knock on him.
No, not at all.
Everybody's got to make their own decisions about when they do what. And that's their own call to make. For me, I just feel like, all right, what I want to talk about is the set of ideas that will make Mississippi better. Let's have a conversation, a big conversation about that. And then at the end of that conversation, if folks say, well, like, Shad White has the background and the ideas that I want to get behind, great. And if enough folks tell me, hey, you ain't it, and we want to do something else, then that's good to know too. So I really want to focus on talking about how we can make Mississippi better. What are the things we need to change? What are the things we need to keep doing, and focus on that for at least the next year.
Well, I understand Andy doing it because in his position, he's got 2 state fairs and 2 Dixie Nationals that he's going to be the face of for the most part, that he's able to use state funds to promote and promote his face all over it. So just from a business perspective, I absolutely understand why he would do it. And I don't have a problem with it because, hey, that's one of the perks of being being ad commissioner and getting able to do that. And I completely understand it and I get it. And heck, I respect it because it's just, it's playing the system the way it's laid out for you to be able to. So that's the decision he's made. Got another text here, and you may or may not want to get into back and forth about this, but I do like the DEI aspect of the question. This is on the Guns of Gear text line. It says, does the auditor have any comments on his recent back and forth with Tommy Duff about funding DEI and enforcing vaccine mandates at universities?
Yeah. Well, I'll say this, again, talking about doing your job and focusing on that. I think Duff said something in my direction, or at least this is what a reporter said about needing to focus on my job. Well, as you can see, every day I'm focused on my job, trying to do this the right way. In the last 7 years, we've recovered more money in the state auditor's office than any other 7-year period in the history of the state. Over $75 million at this point. So we got a great team at the auditor's office doing my job. So I certainly didn't appreciate the comment. And what I said in response was, well, look, Duff served as chairman of a very, very important government board, maybe the most important government board in Mississippi, which is the board that runs our universities. And when he was on there, that's the time when DEI got created at our universities. There were votes to hire the DEI officers at one of the universities. There's all sorts of stuff that happened during that period at Mississippi universities that was the wokest, dumbest stuff that you see at any other of the big liberal universities around the country. And I think that's important. I think that's important for this reason. Our universities are, I think, a critical piece of the future of our state, because our biggest long-run challenge as a state is educating the workers and thinkers of the next 25 years. Like, you cannot overstate how important it is to focus on the basics at our universities, good common sense career paths for people. And we have been distracted. The universities have been distracted by this woke DEI nonsense. And unfortunately, I think the reason that these liberal professors and administrators were allowed to get away with that for so long is that nobody wanted to step up and challenge them. Everybody wanted to just be buddies with everybody and say, yeah, y'all keep doing what you're doing. Oh, diversity, that sounds good. Keep going. Nobody asked any tough questions. Nobody stood up to them. And then we looked up a few years later and we got all kinds of nonsense out of our universities, not just DEI, but as you know, Clay, for a little while, University of Mississippi Medical Center had an LGBTQ clinic where they were treating minors, children who claimed that they were transgender, boys who thought they were girls, girls who thought they were boys. And that was happening here in Mississippi, and we were paying for it with taxpayer dollars.
It was also sponsoring pride events.
Absolutely.
I think Pride Jackson or whatever it's called.
Absolutely.
UMC is one of the big sponsors of that thing. Like, hold on. Is that private money that you're sponsoring this pride event with? Because if it's tax money, I got a real problem with it. And it feels borderline illegal to me.
Yeah, I looked at that. I mean, Pride Week was also sponsored in Oxford by the DEI office at the University of Mississippi. So again, all that stuff was happening at these universities.
Should they have to equally balance? If we want to throw a MAGA week, should they have to sponsor that too?
Don't hold your breath on MAGA week happening at the University of Mississippi or any university.
Sure.
So I had a huge problem with just that kind of stuff happening in our universities. And I think the folks who didn't stop it or voted for it or were asleep at the wheel, they bear responsibility for that kind of stuff happening. That's what you agree to be responsible for when you sit on a government board. So,
and I wonder where he was on that board. So, I've sat back with the Tommy Duff thing, kind of a wait and see approach, because I know that the billionaire thing, it's going to play well. The story plays well. It's a Trumpian type story from Mississippi. We don't have it with 2 billionaires, him and his brother, here in the state. So I was just from a spectator sports standpoint,
sure,
like, let's see how this plays out. This doesn't play well in his favor, if you ask me, and I wasn't aware of this.
Well, the key element of Trump is not just the amount of money that he had. The key, because there are a lot of rich people in America, the key element that made Trump popular is that he was willing to stand up and engage in tough fights and tell the truth when it was politically unpopular. That's what made Trump.
Absolutely.
And
He had a hot wife too.
all those things help. All these things help. And a great family, great children.
Yep.
All these things help. And so, if you're following in the model of Trump, there really is no other Donald Trump. There's definitely not a Donald Trump floating around Mississippi. So, I think what people are going to end up looking for when they're looking for leaders is, now that they've seen President Trump be so effective at the national stage, they're going to look for folks who are willing to tell the truth, even when it's unpopular, even when they're going to be criticized, folks who are willing to make tough decisions, even when it makes them unpopular in the room. And so anyway, to go back to the listener's question, my thought was, well, look, if you're going to throw a shot at me, welcome to the major leagues. You're going to get shots thrown back at you. And then I'm going to go back to doing my job, as I have been doing, and trying to shine light on ways we can be doing better with taxpayer dollars in Mississippi.
Which I think makes you more of a Trump-like figure politically than him, because you're not scared to tackle, to take the big fight on head to head.
Well, I learned my lesson very early in my time as state auditor. I think we talked about this the last time. You can basically choose two roads when you get elected. You can choose road number one, which is, I want to be buddies with everybody. I don't want to make anybody mad. I never want to say anything on social media that is going to cause somebody to call me a mean name. If you do that, that's one way of doing it. But our voters do not respect that kind of politician anymore. They just do not. And also, you're not going to be doing the things that you need to do, because you're going to be ignoring difficult situations and challenges that the state needs to answer. Road number two is to be yourself, to say what you believe, be willing to tell the truth, even if it makes somebody powerful mad. And if you do that, yeah, you're going to get called mean names occasionally. I mean, the stuff that gets said about my wife on social media is just out of this world. A lot of it by liberals, which is nuts. But you will end up addressing the state's key challenges head on. And that's what voters want. So I think the politicians who start walking down road number one, and in politicians, I include anybody who's thinking about running for office, folks who walk down road number one are going to wake up one day and they're going to realize nobody likes or cares about what I'm saying, because I'm not saying anything at all. And the ones who walk down road number two are going to suffer some pain, but they are actually going to address the issues that folks, real Mississippians, care about every single day.
I like it. Let's take a break. We got State Auditor Shad White here in the studio. We got some other topics we're going to get to in this next full segment that we got coming up. Buckle up, hold on, rip the knob off if you're on the radio. If you're watching the live stream, hit that share button, hit the like button, drop a comment. If you got any questions for the auditor, text in the Guns and Gear text line, 769-241-1944. We'll be right. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, here live, Men's Health, Women's Wellness of Mississippi Studios. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, how about my buddy Jamie Creel right downstairs here with Shelter Insurance. Jamie's been turned into a bit of a radio star himself between my show and Chip Matthews' show. Chip poaching my guests and stuff. I'm kidding. Look, anytime we get a chance to get these great sponsors in front of more people, I'm all for it. Look, man, let Jamie run a quote for you. See if he can save you any money, or maybe you just want to get you a good local insurance agent, and not just, not to pick on Progressive, but not just progressive.com or the General or something like that. You want a guy who you can pick up the phone and call and have a dang conversation with. Man, we got to get back to doing business like that, with a handshake and a conversation, and being able to call your insurance agent. Because look, chances are when you call your insurance agent, it probably ain't during 9 to 5. It's probably because you had something done happened after hours.
Yep.
You need to pick up a phone and be told, hey, man, it's going to be all right. That Jamie's your guy. Every now and then, just pick up the phone and say, hey, brother, it's going to be okay. We got it now. And that's what Jamie's going to offer. That's what his team's going to offer you. Reach out to him. Shelter Insurance. Just Google Jamie Creel, Shelter Insurance. He's got an office right here in the Cotton Exchange Plaza in Flora, and right over there on 51 next to Fleet Feet, right at the corner of what's that, Jackson Street and 51 or State Street, whatever you want to call it, in Ridgeland. Easiest thing to do, Google Shelter Insurance, Jamie Creel, give him a call and let him run a quote for you today. He saved me a couple $100 a month and got me better insurance. He also saved my buddy Johnny. I'm sure Johnny would love for me to quit putting his business out there, but I ain't said his last name. Johnny could be anybody. That might not even be his real name. Saved him $700 a month across the board. That's a dang car note. $700 a month extra he was paying in insurance between RV and house and cars and stuff like that. But that's a lot of people got a bunch of stuff. It adds up quick. Anyway, shelter insurance, Jamie Creel, tell him I sent you. State Auditor, Shad White. Shad, there was something else you were wanting to talk about. What was it, man?
Crime. We started talking about the new crime stats that came out a few weeks ago, 2 weeks ago.
So I've been screaming this from the top of my lungs. They're saying that crime is down in Jackson. Murder's down in Jackson.
Yeah.
And I'm just picking Jackson, Democrat City. You not answering 911 calls does not mean crime is down.
Yeah.
Ignoring it does not mean crime is down. Not reporting it does not mean crime is down. Like, we know for a fact that blue cities and the FBI under the Biden administration regime, Biden regime, were intentionally fudging the numbers or not reporting the numbers on violent crime in blue cities.
Yeah.
And they blamed it on the new system, and some cities weren't online for it yet, and this, that, and the other. No, y'all were trying, y'all know y'all have a problem in these blue cities with crime. And at the end of the day, that is something that affects everybody on a day-to-day basis. How much money you got in the bank and how safe you are. Like, those are the two things that are the most important in your life that other people have some sort of control over. With inflation, with spending, with safety. Like, that's what we elect politicians for. At the end of the day, money, my taxes, money saved, whatever, and how safe I am in this community I live in. And Democrats have a big problem with both of those. And it's nice to see a reckoning of sorts being handled on both fronts. And look, I think Jackson should 100%, with the fresh mayor, with Tate, they should 100% welcome the National Guard to Jackson for a month or so. Just straighten it up, show you how it's done, do a little clean sweep, because it ain't a whole lot of people committing all this crime.
No.
In a city like Jackson, Shad, it's probably a couple hundred people that are the most violent offenders. And we can shake that tree and get them on out of here pretty quick. And don't get me wrong, more will come. But I think if you come in and show we're not taking this crap anymore, it will make people think twice. I mean, you said it off air. I think that the one thing that's easy to do is blunt force trauma. It's just brute force when it comes to fighting crime. It's the only thing that works. Sending a social worker out there with a badge, a violence interrupter, a credible messenger, while I think there is a place for that, not as a substitute for law enforcement.
It doesn't deter crime. It doesn't solve crime. You know, there's a bunch of research on this too, for anybody who's a nerd like me and wants to read about it. There's a great book by a guy named Raquel called Criminal Injustice. And he summarizes decades of criminology research. And the one thing he would say that is the most common finding in all these studies is more police equals less crime. More police presence equals less crime. It's both common sense and it's backed up by all this research. And I think you're 100% right. Jackson is exhibit A. Like, we have to have a safe capital city. It's a terrible situation when Mississippi still ranks number one for per capita homicides more than any other state in the entire country. That's what that new federal data came out and said a couple of weeks ago.
And that's with almost 50% down from the previous year.
Yeah, that's right. Going down, but still worse than everybody else.
But
right.
Violent crime is still, kind of up there with it.
Yeah.
And it's just because there's some bad shots that we haven't had more homicides. 7 people got shot in Jackson this weekend, Shad.
I read that.
3 got killed from shooting. Another one got killed in a hit and run.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild. And folks, I know folks will say, I grew up not in Jackson. I grew up in rural Southeast Mississippi, 2 hours from here.
What town?
At Sandersville. Town of 700 people. We didn't come to Jackson. Like, Jackson may as well have been New York City or, on Mars. And I know there's some folks, maybe even my parents or these kinds of folks who would say, well, like, what do I care about what goes on in Jackson? Well, here's the thing. Jackson for the last 20 years has been a magnet for young people who want to stay in Mississippi. Whether you like it or not, a lot of you may live out in Macomb or Tupelo or wherever, but a lot of your kids and your grandkids, if they stay in Mississippi, you're going to end up living in Jackson. Even if they don't, your kids are probably going to go on a field trip to a museum in Jackson. You want Jackson to be safe. You really do.
It goes back to the brain drain thing.
100%. 100% it does.
We need an urban area for young people who aren't ready to start a family to want to go lay down some roots in the meantime.
And economic growth. Again, Georgia has grown because Atlanta has grown in the last 50 years. The rural areas of Georgia have not grown as fast. Atlanta has grown. Mississippi's best shot for growth are really only big metro areas, Jackson. We also have the coast, which is doing well in DeSoto County, but Jackson has to be a part of the solution here. And an unsafe Jackson is a Jackson that's not going to grow economically.
Man,
I will say
Dallas, man. I didn't know that Dallas had a black. I knew they had a black mayor. I didn't know he was a black Republican, and it makes so much sense. I watched a nice little mini documentary about them becoming the Y'all Street.
Yeah,
instead of Wall Street, Y'all Street.
I love it.
I didn't realize that their mayor was a conservative black dude, and I'm like, man, see, this is what works.
They're about to have their own stock exchange in Texas.
Well, that's what they call it, Y'all Street.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
And look, I'll say this: I think Governor Reeves has done a very good job reforming the Capitol Police. That's one of the things that does not get talked about a lot. A lot of headlines have been written about the data centers coming in, and Governor Reeves gets a ton of credit for that. But he hasn't gotten enough credit for reforming the Capitol Police, which I think is a sign that if you're smart and you double down on law enforcement, you can make a big difference. We just need to apply that principle broadly to Mississippi. JPD needs to apply that principle. We've got to find ways to pay cops and get more of them on the street. That's the only way you solve our homicide problem in the long run, is putting more cops, more law enforcement on the street, paying those folks for being in a dangerous position and keeping us safe every night. And you're going to see Mississippi get stronger as a result of it. If we don't, if voters or if politicians don't do something like that, voters are going to find politicians who will, because like you said, they want government to make their daily lives better. They want to be safer. They want to keep more of their money. They want to know their tax dollars are being spent wisely. They want to be able to send their kids to a good school. All voters want their daily lives to be better. And if government can't deliver on that, they're going to kick the people out who are in charge and find somebody new.
Well, they should. We got to take our last break here. We're going to keep talking online during the break. So if you're watching there, don't go anywhere. If you're listening on the radio, we'll be right back to land the plane for the day with State Auditor Shad White. All right, we are still live online. Yeah, Shad, I think it's a great point. That's something that goes back to it's our opening conversation about $22 million a year that could be saved on the EBT and junk food, whatnot, that could be used to help fund more police in Jackson. And people will say, well, Clay, it's interpersonal violence. Police can't predict when somebody's going to commit a crime. Well, no shit, right? No kidding. But you know what you can do? If I see them blue lights down there on the corner, I'm probably not going to shoot the guy standing in front of me.
Yeah, even if I have an interpersonal problem with him.
Right.
Well, look, and yeah, I'm sure there are domestic violence events that are difficult for police to see because they're happening behind closed doors in a home. But you also read plenty of headlines about somebody who does a carjacking and gets arrested, and then a judge says, all right, well, I'm going to let you out. Sometimes they pay bail. Sometimes they don't. I'm going to let you out. And then the next thing is a home burglary. And then the next thing is a murder, right? So you clearly have situations that are perpetrated by a very small percentage of the population where it could be prevented if you had more police and you had very serious criminal sentences when somebody does something violent. Like carjacking is clearly violent. Folks should go away. You should not be back. That's
20 years. You should get 20 years. You go carjack somebody. And I think that's the non-murder violent crimes. We've almost just shrug our shoulders at them now. Well, nobody died. And the community is acting like that. And that's one of the biggest problems. A lot of the community are acting like that. Well, these are just young kids out there just wanting to go on they're calling carjacking joyrides. Now, like, no, they used a gun and stole somebody's car at gunpoint and took it for a joyride. That's grand theft auto. And I don't know what the charge for the carjacking is. Is the criminal charge carjacking or
I forget.
Grand, aggravated assault as far as I'm concerned. But I mean, these are serious crimes. And if they get away with that, in your mind, you're like, well, I got away with that. What can I get away with next? And we got to start locking these people up. I mean, this shouldn't even fall under broken window policing. This is like the worst of the worst, but we've diluted it and watered it down where people just aren't shocked by it anymore. That should shock you to the core that women and men and children and old folks are getting bumped into at red lights and carjacked in your capital city. But I think it was 3 years ago, JPD, and I saved it, and so it comes up as a Facebook memory every now and then. JPD released a statement telling people not to drive through the capital city by themselves at nighttime. I made a TikTok video about it. TikTok thought it was fake and took it down for misinformation.
That's wild.
because it's so wild
Yeah.
that they thought I was spreading fake news.
Yeah. And then they realized it was an official statement.
No, they never did. They never let me put my video back
That's
up.
ridiculous.
But
Well, yeah,
but
I
that's how
mean,
bad it had gotten.
yeah.
That's how numb to crime people have gotten, that the police of the capital city are telling you, women and young people don't drive through the city alone by yourself at night.
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Well, and you talk about escalating, you know, somebody's carjacking a car with a firearm. Yeah, they may get away with it one time and they may do their little joyride, but the next time when somebody fights back and somebody gets shot and killed, that person who's committing the crime, they've already made the decision to violently harm somebody else by going up to the car with a gun in the first place. Like they already made the call in their mind, like I'm about to get this car. And so
By any means necessary.
by any means, right? That's why I brought the gun.
Yeah.
But I think what you said is true. We've become desensitized to it.
That's the word I was looking for.
And we've got to be able to stand up and say, look, let's put more police on the street. Let's pay them. There are going to be folks who are so mad. Even some Republicans get mad when you say that. There's a whole class of, you know, criminal justice reformers, and a bunch of them are Republicans, and they'll say, no, you know, we need to be compassionate.
We're back.
Yep.
All right, we're back with Shad White to land the plane here for the day. Shad, we could do this for hours, man.
Yeah, this is fun, man.
If y'all missed that last 5 minutes of conversation that we were having online, it'll be available on the podcast. Just fast forward to the last 5 minutes of the show, talking about, you know, people being desensitized by non-murdering crimes such as carjacking and home invasions and whatnot. It's like, well, nobody died. We shouldn't be locking these kids up for 20 years. Yes, we should.
Yeah.
Yes, we should.
Yep.
We've got to get away from that. I mean, look, I am for some aspects of criminal justice reform, but like you said, there's a lot of Republicans behind some of this criminal justice reform, which is making our streets more dangerous.
Yep.
Because, well, we don't need to be ruining kids' lives. No, we didn't ruin those kids' lives.
Yep.
The lack of home training and them kids ruined them lives. Shad, thank you so much as always, brother. Let's do this again soon.
This was fun. Thanks, man.
I'll see y'all tomorrow. Be blessed. Peace.